Hello dear pupils, I'm glad to greet you at our English lesson. My name is Marina Lebedeva and let's start our English lesson. My topic for today is modal verbs. I'm going to talk about present and future modal verbs and emphasize some details about this topic. So let's start. Actually, modal verbs in different form, in different tense may define different situations, different things, and may have like different level of their strengths. Actually, let's define what is going on with them. Modals are not usual verbs. Firstly, you should understand the main difference, the significant difference between simple verbs and modal verbs. Here you are. They don't use an S, ending S in the third person like usual verbs. So the next point is they make questions by inversion. So we may organize questions using modals and they are followed directly by the infinitive of another verb. So without to. Here you are some details and here you are some examples of how to use some modals. But of course, as I promised to you, we should define and differentiate how to understand about their meaning, about some concrete situation. Some details. Actually, ability. For this purpose, we have a word can. Can in the present, its past form is could. So, and be able to do something, of course, is for future tense, about our plans for future time. So, what about obligation? For this purpose, we have some other modal verbs. Must is like modal verb number 1 when we talk about obligation. It's the first verb which may come to our mind when we talk about obligation. Have to, need to, when you don't have any wish but there is a necessity to do something. And don't have to, don't need to, negative form. So, or lack of obligation, in other words. So, you may see some other things, some other points also. So, and we have at the same sum table. Now I would like to show you more detailed way, and as I told you at my some other lessons, please make notes, fix some essential information in order to remember it, in order to refresh in your mind after looking through, and it will be really useful for your future studying process, speech and practice in English language. And at the same time, I'd like, before giving like a table how to use verbs for which purpose. So about habits. Look please, we can use will or would to talk about habits or things that we usually do or like did in the past. For example, when I lived in Italy, we would often eat in the restaurant next to my flat. Or John will always be late. So about habit, here we talk about some action which was repeated several times. And here you are a table which I promised to you finally, and modals in present and modals in the past. 2 columns. I wanted to differentiate in order to give you a chance to understand difference and their strengths and their meaning between each other. So look please, obligation. For this purpose, as I told you before already several minutes ago, we have verb must. Must have to stop when the traffic lights are red. You may use have or you may use must, and actually here this situation allows us to choose, but in some cases we cannot choose. We have to concentrate and we have to choose only one in order to give our listeners some particular meaning of the sentence. Well, advice. You should see a doctor, like a recommendation. A recommendation may be given to any person, absolutely. And prohibition is you mustn't smoke here. So you do not talk about obligation but prohibition, that you cannot do something. It was present tense. What about past? You had to stop. Actually, verb must, it doesn't have any past form. That's why you have to use construction have to in past form, had to. But have to may be transformed into had to really simply without any difficulties. So you should have seen a doctor is a past recommendation. We only changed, we added some word, and here you are the only changing. And you mustn't have smoked there. Here you are example for past form of prohibition. Well, now we're going to talk about ability, certainty, and permission. Here are the same situations, present and past tenses, 2 columns in order to represent. We cannot say that present form and past form a little bit different and the strength of the verb is also different. No, the strength is the similar. The meaning is also the similar. We only emphasize tense. But if you choose one word instead of the previous, it means that you may lose appropriate meaning of the sentence. So I recommend you to read, to look through these tables. Here you are some information also about possibility and lack of necessity. For example, may and can may have another meaning, especially can, and could and might. It's past form. Well, and lack of necessity is like don't have to and needn't. Here are some examples about modal verbs about present form and past form. Thank you for your attention, my dears. See you at the next lesson. Have a good day.